Then for the finished volume process, they usually outsource that process to a private company. Then that might be
opportunity.
Well, sometimes then, yeah, we get some fun.
But Abenomask distribution so quick.
Right, yeah. I mean, we all have it.
So quick.
Not Kimoto-san didn't get it yet, but in Tokyo, maybe everybody already got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Chiba Prefecture, I couldn't get it.
You don't?
I received one, actually.
Oh, really?
Our office has one address, so it was delivered to our office.
Great. Also, 10万円 is will support to be later June or July.
Who will get that 10万円?
Everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah, you will get it.
Really?
Yeah.
ありがたいな。
まああんまりね10万円だからね。Only 100,000.
Yeah, it's
per head.
Yes, per head. Okay.
It's per head.
Okay.
Ed, by the way, let's going to start to discussion what kind of discussion we support today. 8個一遊?
Yes. 8個一遊. Yes. That's what we were talking about.
Kimoto, you can say something. 8個一遊.
8個一遊.
Yeah.
This is a very fundamental concept for Japanese,
Yes.
but many worldwide ethnics couldn't understand this concept
Right.
because it depends on the Japanese geographical position. Japan is was organized by the many islands. Therefore, Japan is isolated by the China culture, China power. Between the Tsushima Kaicho, it's very lucky for Japanese. For example, Kaicho って何て言うんだろう?
Straight.
Straight, Dover. That is France and England was isolated by the Dover, but that is very narrow for human. But Tsushima Kaicho is a very long distance. People couldn't swim.
Right.
Dover couldn't. Sometimes could swim. Person.
Well, normal person cannot.
Person cannot.
No, normal person cannot.
Yeah.
It's pretty far. I think it's realistic to assume that most people cannot swim.
Hachiko is one is Japanese culture, especially Galapagos culture.
Right. How? When was it? When was this concept invented?
Concept invented. Let me see.
Meiji Restoration.
So I actually that's Unu-san, that was my thought too. This is a concept that was invented in the Meiji Restoration in order to assert Japanese influence.
But this kind of concept is followed by Kojiki, Japanese oldest book of history. It is 9th century. So pick those words from that book.
I see.
So this old history book is mentioning the world is one world.
Did they already have a concept of one globe and
yes,
a
cooperate
concept of the size of the world?
Yeah, everybody cooperate each other. Hachiko ichiu means everybody cooperate each other. So everybody is family. Like Chinese say.
In Japan, eh?
But Chinese Xi Jinping say the same word. but
Right.
his intention is different.
Okay, so how is it different?
Well, different is Chinese is try to cover the rest of the world as their own world.
Right.
But
And
Japan
Japan
is
does
no,
not.
no. We don't occupy the world. We just only simply cooperate each other. Chinese occupy everything.
Right. Okay. So that's why I got this well, so we're going back to the discussion we had before. So I'm a little bit skeptical about the true intention behind
Hachiko issue. That's only first person, the non-Japanese. I try to persuade what the true meaning is. You European first guy. I try to give you the better understanding for Hachiko issue.
So I feel that, but okay, based on the origin may be there, but the way that this concept has been implemented, and it was the starting point of the asserting Japanese power, putting a lot of importance on the emperor and making him this symbol of power away from the shogun, and giving a legitimacy to the expansion of Japan, first in the Kuriles and Taiwan, and later on other parts, under the denominator of unification. And my impression is that actually it has exactly the same denomination as the current Chinese Hachiko Ichiu.
Okay, just Taiwan, you said Korea, they just invaded, and a couple of decades actually invaded. Since then, they recognize they cannot follow up like a British way. So they changed the strategy based upon Hachiko issue. They recognize they need to cooperate with local people. Taiwan is from the first step. They follow on the based upon Hachiko issue.
But Taiwan was first, right?
Pardon me?
When was Taiwan occupied?
1925.
Oh, that late. Oh,
Yeah. And they retrospecting the Korean failed occupation. So they changed the strategy. They try to cooperate with local people instead of invasion.
So how come that strategy was so much different? Was that because it was dictated?
Because of the person invaded.
Exactly. So it seems like this was the case everywhere, no?
Okay, Taiwan and Manchuria.
Right, but actually the whole way, the whole, if we look at history and the presence of Japan, whether it was the Philippines or Korea or Manchuria or any other country in Southeast Asia, the story is always different. And it seems to be that the only common denominator is that actually there was not really an understanding of the who actually was in power and in control, and there was not really a clear philosophy or clear principles that guided people's actions. People just did whatever they believed was their assignment or their own agenda, and not based on a clear philosophy or a clear goal or whatever. It was just all over the place.
Oh, depending on the company, who's going to be the management, the same.
Right.
So some management is very poor to organize.
This is supposed to be a multinational with a clear leadership from Japan. No?
Yeah, that's right.
But it wasn't.
Depending on the person.
Right. So it was not really a clear multinational with a clear corporate strategy. It was just a corporate headquarters with branches that were managed locally and had very little to do with guidance from Japan.
That's right. Depending on who governs those areas.
Right.
But many cases, Japan follow on Hachikoichi.
Right, but what that meant was very different. Was very much open for interpretation, apparently.
But as you remember, imperial prescript for education. This is exactly Japanese soul or spirit to how to manage or how to communicate among people.
I think you said it better the first time. How to manage.
Yeah, how to manage. This is every children speak out every morning before World War II. Right?
Right.
But now it disappeared, okay? But disappeared. But still, basic culture is still remaining.
Yeah. So the way that the Americans interpreted this was actually the roots of Japanese imperialism.
But now, as you know, the American first, right? Japan never think Japan first. Right? Do you agree that?
Yeah. No, but I do believe that they took their self-interests absolutely first. I don't think they did anything out of altruism at all. I don't buy it. 1 second.
But Japanese people is they are poor to communicate with overseas, so they think by themselves at first. Then they made a conclusion, bring overseas. This causes problem.
Yeah, and also they can be pretty wagamama.
Wagamama is different. They just they not confident to persuade overseas people. Not confident.
Right. So, but okay. As a replacement for that, they chose military aggression.
No, like thinking about Dutch people communicate with overseas people, and if you cannot conclude your conclusion, you just get into these organizational groups, whatever, and you're going to start to talk with them and try to lead into the conclusion, right? Japanese they do not have confidence, so they try to communicate among Japanese. Then after they made a conclusion, bring that result, bring to the overseas, then persuade them or force them. This is wrong. But Japanese, not Japanese first, but their process of bringing their idea to overseas is terribly wrong.
Right, but if you're actually not in the business of making compromises, then you are automatically, implicitly saying Japanese first.
Right.
You
Exactly.
only think about your own position.
This is selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish. Japanese think that their technology is best in the world, and their thinking approach is best in the world. But why not before making conclusion? Why not they try to discuss with overseas people first?
Right.
They do not have confidence. That's the reason why they can't do it. Like you Westerners people, always they open your mind, and they show them your skill, your talent, your knowledge, everything else, and then discuss. But Japanese cannot.
So persuade, look for, like we've been talking about negotiation, looking at the other person's interest and trying to find a bridge between their interest and your interest and come to a mutually agreeable deal and hopefully a long-term business relationship that of course is a little bit depends a little bit from culture to culture, but I think in that sense Japan can be a little bit unique in the sense that they do not really seem to be in the business of actually negotiating.
Yeah, that's right, especially for white people. But yellow colored people Japanese can talk and discuss with those people in Asian Pacific. But
are they talking, or are they negotiating, or are they dictating?
Everything. But when white people join, Japanese people close their mouth. It means they feel inferiority for white people.
Well, it's.
Don't you feel that?
Well, I did, from my not so long experience, but from my experience so far, I did find it very odd that it seemed to be so difficult to work together and to align the interests of Japan and the rest of the world. There seemed to be a general a general reluctance to make compromises, to make something that is agreeable for both Japan and the rest of the world, leading to completely trying to shut out the rest of the world and focus entirely on satisfying the Japanese clients.
Why?
I think it's a little bit to do with the fact that actually a lot of people, as you say, they follow their boss, they follow their direct, they do whatever they need to satisfy that. So there's a lot of people seem to have difficulty to take one step back and look at the bigger picture and say, okay, well, why don't we actually try to create something, generate something that is agreeable to all of us? And it
means narrow-minded.
Well, yeah, because in the inner circle in Japan, the customer is king. The customer dictates everything. So, and since we need to do whatever we can to satisfy the customer need, the Japanese demand they have certain expectations that always need to be met. And I find that a lot of people in the companies that I worked at, they go above and beyond to meet those expectations. They even they are actually already anticipating what their customers might want to ask, and making a service offering that needs to be perfect. That absolutely needs to be perfect. In order not to be blamed, in order not to be criticized, in order just to do your job. But if you look at a Western company, there is more of a tendency. It's okay, all right, it may not be perfect, but why don't we have a bigger perspective and look at this from a bigger point of view? How can we make this into something that is beneficial both for our direct customers and other customers, and actually look at the total business value and create a solution that is good enough, that actually achieves its purpose. That's not acceptable. That seems to be not acceptable for Japanese customers, nor for their suppliers.
But this is not true customer mindset, right? But just Japanese people believe they themselves, probably this is a customer's request.
Yes. Yeah, probably, indeed. There's a very big tendency to kind of interpret the customer request and make sure that they give the something that would satisfy every single, that would check every single possible requirement that a customer could have, even if though the customer might not even have asked for it.
This might be very risky. This might be very risky aspect. Japanese people has confidence.
I think it's very risky in a sense that non-compromising, it's expensive, and it actually creates something that is not compatible with the rest of the world. Because of this culture, we create technology that we believe is perfect, that is superior to anything else, but it is expensive. It's expensive to make, and it's impossible to sell. And especially if you cannot make any compromises for your Japanese clients, it will be very difficult to gain market share overseas, because what you are making is tailored at the Japanese client, because you are not prepared to make any compromises and exclude any foreign requirement into your product. That makes you very weak from a competitive perspective in the global market.
I'm not sure. I'm not clear understanding about the car industry. Like Toyota selling their car overseas, so they are very much concerned for the overseas customer, right? Instead of Japanese people.
Right. Yes, sorry.
She like it.
Yeah.
She like you.
Yes. A bit too much sometimes. Actually, I was very impressed actually when visiting the US last year, and I saw how many Japanese cars are on the roads there. It's almost 1 in 2. Every other car is a Japanese car. It's but it is actually, I believe that the car industry is more of a mass market, where basically what the Japanese cars manufacturers are doing, maybe with the exception of the hybrid model, but other than that, basically they make a mass-produced item, a car that is not different in US or in Japan or in any other part of the world. It's virtually the same. Maybe the name is a little bit different, but other than that, the car is exactly the same. And they make a product that exists and a market that exists, and they produce something that will fit into that market, and that's actually of better quality at a lower price than their European and American competitors. So that's why they're doing quite good in the American market.